Hello, good evening, students. So, after a long break, welcome to my class. Today, I'm going to cover fertilization and implantation. In my last class, I had discussed about menstruation cycle. All right. So, today, I shall be teaching you fertilization and implantation. So let's start with fertilization. So what is fertilization? It is a fusion of gametes, right? Where male and female gametes fuse together. So let us see exactly how exactly this fertilization takes place. So first what happens? Sperm is released. Once the sperm is released, it reaches to fertilization site, that is ampulla, with the help of tail. Okay, so tail, it helps sperm in movement. Then the sperm, it come in contact with the secondary oocyte. Okay, and the secondary oocyte is surrounded by various layer of cells. Then acrosome, it releases enzymes which pierce cell of the corona radiata. So in a diagram you will see the corona radiata. Okay, it's an layer which surrounds the ovum. Okay, and then the head of the secondary oocytes, while tail remain outside. So head, it enters the secondary oocytes. Okay, so head of the sperm, it enters the secondary oocytes, and tail, it remain outside. So head moves toward the nucleus of the egg, that is the nucleus of the ovum, the secondary oocyte. And head, it contain nucleus, right? Even the egg also contain nucleus. Then what happened? The nucleus of sperm and nucleus of egg, they come together, and then the fertilization occurs. I hope that you have got an idea what exactly the fertilization is. So in this diagram you can see the different layer of secondary oocyte. The corona radiata, it is made up of cell which is external cell. Then is your zona pellucida, which is a second layer, and then inside there is oocyte. Okay, so there you can see how acrosome reaction takes place, how sperm enters into the or how they come in contact with the secondary oocytes. Okay, so I hope that by looking at this diagram it is clear to you what is zona pellucida, what is corona radiata, what is acrosome reaction. So we will discuss further, okay, that how sperm reach the fertilization site. So let us see how does it reach to the fertilization site. Now let us see how sperm reach fertilization site. So first what happened? Sperm is released. Now where does it release? It is released on vagina. And this process is called insemination. And around 200 to 300 million sperm released. Okay, but only 200 reach to the vagina. And vagina, it is acidic in nature. Okay, it kills sperm. That is the reason why only 200 reaches the site. Okay, then the sperm, it travel past the cervix. So I hope you know the female reproductive system, right? So just follow that one. Then next, up the uterus. Okay, the sperm, it travel up the uterus, from cervix to uterus, and then from uterus into the fallopian tube where egg is found. See, here on the one hand the sperm, it is reaching, or it is trying to reach the site, right, to the fallopian tube. At the same time the egg is also released. Okay, so that I will let you know. Let us see exactly what happened when it come in contact with the ovum. So now sperm reach ampulla. Then what happens once it reach? So what happens? Sperm, it enters fallopian tube and it meets ovum, the first case. Then it pierces corona radiata cells of ovum, the layer. Then after piercing corona radiata, it reached the zona pellucida, which is the second layer. Okay, and zona pellucida, it present, okay, Z sp3 receptor which recognize human sperm. See students, they have that receptor, okay, they does not receive any other sperm, they will receive only the human sperm. Then when they recognize, okay, zona pellucida breaks. So when they confirm that it is human sperm, then that layer zona pellucida will break, and then acrosome also burst. Okay, so sperm it enter into the oocyte. So only one sperm enters. So remember, one sperm will enter. Then in the next stage, what happen? The sperm will touch the membrane of ovum. Okay, and in the last stage, acrosome breaks. Okay, it break down, and the nucleus it enters the membrane of the secondary oocyte. And once it enter the unite, okay, the female ovum, that is the ovum and the sperm, they unite and fertilization takes place. And after they unite, the membrane become depolarized, means no more sperm can enter. So they will block the entry, or they block the entrance of the sperm, okay, more than one sperm. So this is what happens when the sperm it reaches the fertilization site. So when the sperm it reaches to fertilization site, and how does it enter the secondary oocyte? At the same time, the simultaneously even the secondary oocyte is released, right? It has to reach to that fertilization site. Okay, so how does they reach to that site? So secondary oocytes, they are released during the ovulation, right? You know that ovulation is a process where the ovum or the secondary oocyte is released and it reached the fertilization site. Okay, what I told in previous slide is that how the sperm it reaches there, and how does it come in contact with secondary oocyte, isn't it? So for that, secondary oocyte has to be there, isn't it? Now in this slide I am telling you how they reach there, the secondary oocyte. So the secondary oocyte, they reached a fertilization site, and fimbriae, okay, as you can see, the fimbriae helps secondary oocyte to enter fallopian tube. So since fallopian tube it contains ciliated cells, okay, so fallopian tube is made up of cells, isn't it? So those cells are made up of ciliated cells. Now this ciliated cells, it helps in movement, okay, so these cells they push oocyte, okay, they will push secondary oocyte and help in movement. All right, also here what happened, the meiosis 2 complete. See, in the previous class when I was teaching you menstruation cycle, I told you that about the meiosis 2, right? So it was not completed then, so that meiosis 2 is completed here during the fertilization. Okay, so they complete, the secondary oocytes completely become ovum. I hope that this is clear to you. So nucleus of so nucleus will fuse with the nucleus of secondary oocyte, or ovum fuse with nucleus of sperm. Okay, and thus the fertilization takes place. I hope that this is clear to you. So let me give you a quick revision on this. Okay, I have told you that what is fertilization, and then how the sperm it reaches to the fertilization site. During this process, even I taught you that how does it come in contact with secondary oocyte. So in the next slide I taught you then how at the same time the secondary oocytes reach there. See, for the fertilization, the male gamete and the female gametes are required, right? So when the sperm is traveling to the fallopian tube, at the same time the secondary oocytes also traveling to the fallopian tube where fertilization will take place. And when they will come in contact, how sperm enters into the secondary oocytes. That's all what I have taught you. So I hope this is clear. So in previous slides, I have discussed the fertilization, right? So what is the result of fertilization? Zygote will form, isn't it? The fusion of gametes lead to the formation of zygote. Now next, what? After fertilization, when zygote will form, then what happens? Then implantation takes place. Okay, now let us see what is implantation. In this process, what happens? Zygote, okay, which is a result of fertilization, it undergoes mitotic cleavage means to break down. Okay, so as it moves along the isthmus of the oviduct, so you know that it is divided into different parts, right? So toward the uterus, then what happens when this zygote, when it divides, when mitotic division takes place, it forms 2, 4, 8 and 16 daughter cells. Okay, and they are called blastomeres. It means from 1 to 2, then from 2 to 4 cells, then from 4 to 8, it keeps on double. All right, and the 8 cell stage is called your morula. Now, morula, what is morula? It is an embryo with 18 to 16 blastomeres. Okay. Now, this morula, it continue division. Okay, it keeps on dividing. See how this is how the multicellular organism form, right? By division, cell division from 1 to 2, from 2 to 4, it keeps on dividing. So this morula, that is 18 to 16 blastomeres, it continue division and it transform into blastocysts. Okay, so I have already told you what is blastocyst, so refer my previous video. So as it further move into the uterus, now it is moving toward the uterus. Okay, then the blastomere, in blastocysts, they're arranged into an outer layer. Okay, they're arranged. Now that outer layer is called your trophoblast. Now what is trophoblast? It is a thin layer of cells. All right, now what happens? The outer layer, they form trophoblast, right? And inner group of cells, they are attached to the trophoblast, means inner cell mass. Then trophoblast layer, it is attached with the endometrium. Okay, so inner cell mass, it get differentiated as an embryo. Now the cell, the inner cell mass, okay, it get differentiated as the embryo. Then this inner cell mass, it get attached, right? So after attachment, what happened? The uterine cells, it divides rapidly. So after rapid division, it covers the blastocyst, and as a result, blastocyst become embedded in the endometrium of the uterus. I hope that this process is clear to you, that how zygote divides. This is called implantation, means to get implanted in the uterus, right? So uterus is the place where embryo develops, isn't it? So this is how the implantation takes place, and this is the stage where a sex of a zygote is determined. Now how they are determined? We know that in human being there are um, 23 pairs of chromosomes. Okay, so out of 23 pairs, 22 pairs are somatic cells and 2, they are called sex cells or sex chromosome, which participates in the determination of a sex. So male, they have one pair and female will have one pair. So male, they have X and Y chromosome, and female, they have X chromosome. Both are X chromosome. So when the zygote will have one X chromosome and other Y chromosome. Suppose from male they have received Y, and from female they are receiving X, because female they have both X, right? So X and Y, it determines that a zygote or the fetus which is going to be developed, the zygote which is going to be developed will be a boy. Okay, and um, if X is received from the male and X from the female, then it will develop into a female embryo. So I hope that it is clear to you that how sex is determined in a human beings. So if you have any doubts regarding this topic, then you can ask me, and do write notes on this, and show me in my next class. So this is all for today. I'll see you in my next class.